Welcome to Hump Day Wednesday. It's just gone 5:30 here in the UK. Very weird to say that because I'm usually not over this time. It's just gone 12:30 in the east on the East Coast, and it's of course 9:30 a.m. on the West Coast. So early birders on the West Coast. Apologies for this, but you can blame my guest. But anywho, we're starting the show differently once again. Before we get into my guest, I just want to say you can find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. All my links are now on your screen. I think you can see there. We just recently started a Facebook page, by the way, if you're just wondering. It's brand new. Been about 2 or 3 weeks, so we've uploaded all our content on there now. So we're now kind of up to date. There's a few other content that needs to be updated on there. So we'll get around eventually. But if you want to see hidden clips that have never been seen outside of this show on YouTube, then check out my Facebook page on your screen there. But now, introducing the guest today. He can introduce himself, obviously, but he's a speaker, he is a consultant, he's a podcaster, he's got his own YouTube channel. He's also, he is Dan Bennett, and of course, on behalf of Dan Bennett, he is the Antipreneur. Welcome to the show. Hey. I hope I pronounced that correctly, by the way, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people get it wrong, not that it matters that much, but it's a fun place to start conversation and start telling story, which is at the core of everything that I do. So appreciate the introduction. Yeah, I in a nutshell help people develop story and then use a medium, generally video, to get that story where it's going. And I really try and keep it that simple.
Yeah, and I should mention as well that it was a recommendation from my previous guest we had about a week or two ago called Ryan Foland. If you've not checked out that episode, I recommend you should after this episode, as he's the one who actually recommended me to have you on the show. So because he's got many followers who follow me, and I think that's what happened was he must have, all these followers who were following him on Twitter, he must have saw that they follow me, and it must have came up in his recommendations to follow. This is like years ago, by the way. I have to say, it's not recently. I just happened to see a tweet of his recently, and I thought, ooh, he'd be a good guest to come on. So I got him on the show. That's how we got to you. Short story short. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you so much for accepting to take some time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're a very busy guy. And let's talk about, to begin with then, Willie, about your relationship with Ryan Foland. How did you guys meet or not meet? You came across on social media and such. How did you guys connect, as they say, I think, in your world?
Yeah, it's a good story. So I've always been someone who goes a little against the status quo and kind of 180 from what's usually going on. It's not necessarily by design, a little more by nature, but that being part of my nature, I came across his 313 method. And I'm someone who's, helping clients communicate better and tell better stories. So it really struck me. And I noticed he had direct consultation work. And then he had some really great video content out that was kind of teaser and gave away, a good part of the information, but not all of it. And then I saw somewhere in the middle that there might be an opportunity for me to interact with him. So being a 180 type of guy, I went to his smallest platform instead of his biggest, and I DM'd him on Instagram and was like, hey, I have an idea. You have this great video content that gives a good chunk of the 313 away, and then you have people who pay higher dollars to work directly with you. I'd be interested, if you are, in going through the 313 process with you, but I would film it on both ends, your end and my end. Then I would edit that together, and maybe you'd end up with a great piece of content showing what it's like for someone to go through the process. And hopefully my going through the process is unique enough that no one can really steal anything from you, because their process would be different than mine. And a few weeks went by, no reply, and I was like, maybe it didn't work. And then another week went by, and I found out he doesn't, at least back then, didn't check his Instagram every day.
Got ya.
So he was like, hey, I just came across this. I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. And we did. And I think it still lives on his website somewhere. You can see me stumbling my way through the 313 process, and it was a blast. And that started this cool relationship where I've hired him. He's hired me. He's been a mentor in my life. Now we're great friends. And it's one of my favorite parts of entrepreneurship is meeting awesome people.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So it's an interesting way to meet somebody, I have to say, over social media, and I do hope you had a chance to meet in person. And because I know I might not remember this correctly, but I know he has, I think, a boat or something. He goes somewhere on the ocean. Have you had the opportunity to travel on his boats and have some alone time with him and get to know him better as a person as well?
Yeah, it's the only thing I haven't done yet is sail with Ryan. I have flown all over the country and created content for him. So I filmed him keynoting and emceeing and doing breakouts and creating content. I've also spoke in California myself at a conference, and we cut out some time to see each other and hang out and have dinner.
That's good.
But the only thing I haven't done is jumped on that sailboat yet.
Could be a goal of yours to do so then in the near future, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so regarding yourself then, how did you get inspired then? Did you get inspired by other speakers to become a speaker yourself and a consultant to help other people? Or did that start when you were much younger, you came across something as you were growing up and thought, that is something I want to dive into and be a part of?
It was definitely accidental. There's kind of two components that really stand out. One is my partner, Jax. She is a chef, and I would go to these culinary conferences with her. And because I do, storytelling and things like personal branding and video and stuff like that, chefs would be like, hey, I want to know more about that. And I actually spoke at a culinary conference. So it wasn't even, excuse me, entrepreneurship or any of that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, I can speak anywhere. It doesn't just have to be, at an entrepreneurial event. And then being on the road, filming with Ryan and going to a lot of those conferences and seeing how they work and who's there and how people like him really changed lives in front of me. A culmination of those things were like, maybe I should just start putting myself out there more. And pre-shutdown, I was starting to not, try and head towards a career of speaking or anything like that, but put myself out there more. And it was working, and that's been a lot of my career, is just kind of very out loud and publicly letting anyone who's following what I'm doing know what I'm trying to accomplish. And it just leads to opportunity, because later on down the road, someone's like, hey, I heard you say, you're starting a YouTube channel and you're trying to, grow that. And I know someone else who's needing some help in that department. What do you think? All kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's good to hear. And of course, speaking about your YouTube channel, you started that, according to YouTube, 10 months ago. You might have had one for ages, had some content on there, maybe made it private or whatnot, and then started a big, huge campaign over 10 months ago of doing some very interesting and very good tip videos, basically, of how to grow as a YouTuber, grow your channel, get some great equipment advice and, comparing different equipment and such. And it's a very helpful channel, by the way, and congratulations on, I think it's now over 600 subscribers, I think it is now, something along those lines. So very well done to you, not far off of getting 1,000 subscribers. So of course, if my viewers on this channel want any tips and want to help and see how you can grow your channels and such, and check out Dan Bennett's YouTube channel. I believe it's is it Antipreneur?
The THE Antipreneur. Yep.
There we go. Check him out, like him, subscribe to him, and comment all that good stuff, and support his content, because he can help you out with great equipment and software as well. Not just actual content, he actually helps you on the behind the scenes to help to make your content stand out from the others in the same competition as you, maybe. How did you did you just want to just start that as a hobby and see how it progressed over when you first started it, doing those type of videos over just under a year ago?
Yeah, I love that you've done your homework, because you actually just kind of put the roadmap down for how I've approached YouTube.
That's good,
so
then. You're welcome, by the way, because I always do my homework on this show. Don't worry about that. I'm never unprepared. Go ahead.
I love it. I love it because many are, and it's a great way to stand out. So bravo for sure. I've been on YouTube for about 11 years. And it's interesting because I've never done it what I call on purpose. So I've had videos go viral, get over 1 million views. I've had all kinds of fun stuff happen, but I never treated it as a place to put content regularly on purpose. I also treated it as an archive, so I would host my own videos there. I would host client videos there that you can embed on a website or put out for social, all the different tools that YouTube can be used for. Last year in August, I lost everything. So closed my business, personal bankruptcy, my tenants quit paying rent because of COVID, and all kinds of stuff happened in a very short amount of time. And I actually went into the Michigan wilderness to find myself, for lack of a better term. And part of that discovery was looking at the last 6 years of running a successful company and being like, why have I never done YouTube on purpose? I'm in the video space. I help other people do YouTube. I've created videos for other people that have gotten millions of views. Like, what's the deal? And so I came out of that kind of self-discovery last year and said, I'm doing it. It's time to do it as a content creator on purpose. So the first thing I did was, just kind of look at the market, ask a lot of people what they're hoping for, what they're looking for, become part of some entrepreneurial groups where I could ask even more, especially small business owners and solopreneurs, what they want, and really focus on what I've always been good at, which is storytelling and video, and just kind of niche down and say, okay, well, I help business owners create their own video. I help people tell better stories. And occasionally, like you mentioned, how to use certain softwares or how to, kind of business develop a little bit, give some tips and tricks here and there for fun. And that's it. I focused on that and said it's time to go. So I started from scratch, even with all those other channels and views. I started from scratch because I wanted it to be somewhere where no one got confused. They knew exactly what they were getting. And it's been a ride. I've gotten sponsorships from corporations on videos. I've gotten some of the most heartwarming comments from people about how they've been helped by things. We've got a couple mini kind of viral videos that have gotten, 10,000 views or so, even though we're a small channel. So it's working and it's fun, and that's what I always wanted.
Oh, that's good to hear. Of course, we got a comment that's coming in about it on the YouTube live chat saying, from the Jod Pod, I hope recognize that correctly. That person said, Dan's YouTube is awesome. I have to agree. I checked it out last night. It's amazing. Some great content, and I'll be checking it out more often now because I came across your YouTube channel. Because I emailed you, didn't I, about yesterday because I was typing your name in on the social, I couldn't find you, and I thought, interesting. So I thought I'll email you, and I thought I'm maybe a little bit unprofessional without actually knowing what your handles were. So I found you anyway, but there we go.
Yeah. It's another reason why I've embraced the Antipreneur moniker. It's fun for personal branding, but it's also easy to find because there's a lot of Dan Bennett's in the world. And one of them that's more popular is a magician who I don't think really does anything anymore, but put out a lot of content back in the day. So a lot of people find him. So I just go with the Antipreneur and try and make it easy.
Yeah, I sort of mentioned that tonight at the start of the show, saying that this is not the magician Dan Bennett. This is just the entrepreneur, speaker / consultant Dan Bennett. Apologies if you thought this was a magician. We apologize for ruining that dream of yours there. I wish it was. I wish we could have been on, but I don't know if he's still alive or any of his social medias. Anyway, so you got a great channel there, and you mentioned about corporations reaching out to you. This is very cool, by the way. I hope one day we can get corporations reaching out to my show here on youtube.com and also as well to other to help to promote their brands and such on the YouTube and on the social media of mine anyway. But I'm not trying to gloat here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just trying to say, maybe one day, be like other YouTubers, like good old Pat McAfee, where he gets get to read out loads of sponsors for his show, where it helps him out. Anyway, but you also, as well, not just a YouTuber, but you're a very busy guy because you've also got your own podcast as well, or the podcast under the brand name of your company. How did that start? And did that start as soon as you launched your your brand, or did that come later on?
Yeah, so the podcast is, I call it my sandbox. I produce it on purpose, but I don't really do it with any kind of agenda.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but that is show, really. I've been a little bit from all over the place, really. So there's no actual category I think my podcast fits in. So I just put it on the entertainment because that's what I think it is. It's made an entertaining show to entertain people.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, one of the first things I did was not put myself in a box of would it be a solo show or a guest show. So it's kind of a hybrid. I do some episodes by myself and they're short and punchy, and I have guests on, and those are usually more 45 minutes. And usually the guest is an entrepreneur, so I keep it somewhere around business and storytelling and stuff. But when it came time to, put myself out there in the audio sense, I just wanted to have fun with it. And calling it the Antipreneur Show just made sense because that moniker had kind of stuck. I made some content saying I'm the Antipreneur in response to everyone calling themselves an entrepreneur back in 2017. And some people liked it and it kind of stuck. And I made some t-shirts and people bought those. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll roll with this. It's kind of fun. And it's really my style anyways, to push back against the status quo and really get to the heart of the matter.
Nice. Now, there's a show on Discovery. I'm going a bit off topic here. You probably won't meet the criteria. I hope you might. It's called, you might have heard of the show, by the way. I think it's still being shown in America, even though we got it here first for some reason. It was called Undercover Billionaire, for those business people going undercover. I think you've heard of the show. And season 2, I believe, is on right now on Discovery. This is just a free plug. I have no association with Discovery at all. But they showed it over here first for some bizarre reason. Usually I thought it would be America first than us, but anyway. I wonder if you ever get to the point where you become a billionaire for your brand and for your businesses and whatnot. Would you ever go onto that show and be a part of a challenge where 90 days you go to a random city in the US, you start with $100, and at the end of it you need to get your business, validated for $1 million. Would you ever go on that show at all, or even on another type of show? Maybe I might imagine a show right now called Undercover Entrepreneur as well, with the same type of thing, but maybe a bit a lower price tag, obviously, depending on how much the entrepreneurs usually earn a year, kind of thing.
Yeah, I would definitely. And there's two reasons. One, television's a very powerful medium. And two, I've actually spent time in the production world on film and television. So I actually know how it works. So I wouldn't be surprised by the production like a lot of people are when they go on like a game show or a reality show or something. And they're like, wow, I had no idea this is what it was like. So I know I'd be able to go in and kind of, hit the ground running. I think that would be a blast. The power of storytelling goes so far beyond just a trendy word, and it's really what I'm focused on. It's what I work with my clients on. Even though video might be the vehicle that takes it where it's going, it's always about developing story, and television is always trying to make great stories. So I think it'd be a fun place to talk about story and how to use that to grow a business quickly. The other thing too is, story works, and I've watched. There's another show called Undercover Boss where
very like, popular.
I've watched that show and cried. Like, just when people are giving of their heart, they're telling their real story. It might be under a disguise, but they're really showing that they care about their employees and their companies and all that stuff. I love that, man. So like, I know it's television, it's produced, but I think there's some heart in some of those things where you're trying to employ people and grow something from scratch. And yeah, man, I would totally do it.
Yeah, I think the person who creates that show, Undercover Boss, I think his name is Dan Lambert. I think it is. I think so, something like that. I could be completely wrong. That's what I remember of it. But yeah, Undercover Boss, very popular show in America. I watched that show. It's funny because over here, when they were showing that, because we get episodes from all seasons and stuff, so we, like, on some platforms, we can watch it on demand from like season 1. So I never seen season 1 before, and it's very different from nowadays. Back in season 1, at the end of the show, they didn't really give them any money away. Like how nowadays they give loads of money to people and whatnot. But back then, they didn't give out any money. Maybe 1 or 2 people got some money, but the majority of them never got any money. They got maybe a promotion or a vacation, maybe something like that, or maybe a discount, but nothing really like money-wise, really, to help them out. But I mean, after a while, though, on that show, I did get kind of bored of the same kind of stories, the same type of people being picked out, because this is what I'm guessing. You may have more experience because you may have done, as you say, production and whatnot with TV shows and how they might do it. But this is what I think. I could be completely wrong as well. But I think what they do is, I think they go around to these restaurants or businesses where the boss is going to be in, and they interview the people who they think would be great to have on the show. They say, you go with this person, and then you interrupt that person, kind of thing. That's what I think happens. Am I kind of right, if you know what I'm talking about? Am I, or am I completely wrong?
No, there's a lot of production that goes into that stuff. And by production, I don't just mean filming and editing, but I mean finding.
Like the sound as well.
Yeah, finding cast members, seeing what's going to make TV, pushing people in certain directions, maybe a little harder than you would in real life because you might be considered rude, but you're a producer, so you're trying to create good television.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's through tension and drama. So there's definitely a lot of producing going on, in a lot of those shows. But I think that would be fun. A fun part of the challenge for me is having been on sets like that and stuff. Like I wouldn't have to worry too much about getting pushed around. I think I could just execute, and it would be fun. But yeah, I would love to do something like that at some point in time. Even just consult on a show, I think would be fun because there's just such a lack of storytelling in business in general, and a lot of people just need a little guidance. I don't make up other people's stories. I just pull them out of them, and there's room for that to be happening in a lot more places for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say as well, it's all about the ratings. If you don't get good ratings, then, the show gets pulled, and then, we all find out it's not a very good show. So obviously, they need to find good people, great drama, great tension to get the viewers hooked. But the one thing I do not like about American TV shows, especially for Judge Judy, for example, they tell you what's going to happen in the show at the beginning of the show. So I don't understand. It's like, what's the point telling us? You don't need to watch the show otherwise. It's like they're telling you, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Or on next, kind of thing. It's like, there's no point watching it now. I just saw the best moments. Goodbye, I watch something else. But yeah,
so true.
Don't understand what happens. But tell us, what shows have you had been been a part of on set or even behind the scenes and the production side of things, like and sort of like that. I know you got somebody from MTV, a host for MTV. He follows you on Instagram as well. Very cool guy, I bet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, right, okay. I only knew that
cool,
because you shared my post, and I liked it, and then I looked through whoever else liked it as well. I'm just being nosy, and I just happened to click on this guy, and he had 10,000 followers, and he said he's a host of some MTV show. So I thought, wow, you got some great connections there. So I thought you may have met him on set of a show you've been a part of, maybe.
I have had some industry connections just naturally occur because of who two people know, and then we follow each other. And I still interact with a few people that are in television and stuff like that. It was never my desire or passion to go into TV or film, so I always got hired as kind of a hired gun to come and do a specific job for some amount of time and then go on my way. And so I've done a lot of independent stuff. There's some thrillers I've been a part of. Nice. One's called Bestseller. You can find it on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. I've done some music videos for some production companies out of California who work with East Coast bands. Beartooth was one of those bands. Somebody out there might know who they are. They're a heavy metal band. I did some work with Westbrook Productions, which is Will and Jada Smith's production company out of California. Their son, Jaden, was doing some work in Flint, Michigan, where I'm from, doing some documentary work around the water crisis. They hired me to capture some content while he was in town, and some content of some of the local leaders and interviews and stuff like that. So it's been fun because I've got to play in that arena, but not have to make my living there because it's a tough, cutthroat kind of business. But I just get cherry picked every once in a while to do stuff.
Speaking of the water crisis in Michigan, I don't get political enough in here, but I'm just wondering, has it been fixed now? Is the water back to normal how it should be at the beginning of all? After that person came in and decided to switch the water, I think it's because he wanted to save money or something over, and he put all lengths in, didn't he, for the water. It was a very terrible thing. But I'm hoping they've switched it back to the correct water. I think I heard something about that they did that, but I've never spoken to anybody in that area to say for sure that's actually happened, because people can just aren't they, say, oh, we did it, but they haven't.
So high level, the problem is not fixed. On a technical level, the supplier has been switched back, like you mentioned. And there's been some local companies who have been hired out to replace some of the piping that goes from the system to the houses. The exposure of the problem came in 2014. and there's still some people with old lead pipes. So it's been a long time. And unfortunately, like you said, you don't get political. Politics comes into play, which slows things down, so there's a lot of just red tape and slow movement. And it's sad because the community is who suffers. It's not the politicians. It's not the big companies or water supply companies. It's the people who have to live there. But there's a camaraderie and a brotherhood in Flint that it's a very gritty city, and people love each other really hard. So there is development, especially in the entrepreneurial space. It's small and it's slow, but it's there. And there's a lot of people reaching, kind of across the aisle and locking elbows with organizations and institutions maybe they wouldn't have if they weren't trying to come together and help the community. A lot of food distribution, bottled water distribution and stuff like that. But unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that has taken place thus far has been kind of more along the lines of putting a Band-Aid on the wound instead of stitching it up.
Gotcha. Well, I do hope the problem is fixed very soon for everybody in Flint and the surrounding areas, because again, that was a very terrible thing. It's happened to you guys, and and I do hope that things get back to more normal, like it was in 2014 regarding the water supply. There is more of Dan Bennett's interview in just a moment. Just want to let you know, I'm hoping it will work. I'm not updated this yet, but I'm hoping it has. That, of course, this Friday, May 21st at 5 p.m., 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, we'll be joined by the band Right Said Fred. You should know who they are, hopefully. They did that famous song in the 90s called I'm Too Sexy For Your Shirt. If you know that song, they'll be on the show this Friday here on the Fowler Show. And I wonder if they are still too sexy in 2021. We will find that out this Friday at time. At those time I mentioned just then. Will you be tuning in for that episode, Dan Bennett, or at a later date, obviously? If you remember, do you know the song I'm talking about?
I do. I can even see the video in my head. Yeah.
yes. Good old 90s song. But the music, I do love the music more than that's for the lyrics, because that's what the music was so catchy and so great back then, though. Anyway, but back to you. Let's talk about then. I asked Ryan this question a few weeks ago. I'm going to ask you the same question, if you don't mind. When you do stuff for YouTube and for TV companies and for maybe as well, maybe when you speak in or when you will speak in public spaces more often, do you still get nervous?
Yeah, it's a super interesting kind of nervous now, though, and it definitely errs more on the side of excited. So I was in a rock band that toured. And we were together about 6 years and got to open for a bunch of my heroes and play all over the East Coast and stuff. And I've always been an introverted person, but doing hundreds of shows over 6 years got me to a place to where I respected the nerves. And if I was told by some rock folks along the way that if you didn't have that, you should probably quit playing because you don't care anymore, So now it's something I kind of look forward to as this little energy pellet anytime I'm getting ready to do something, because I know my craft inside and out now. So it's not about delivering. It's about making sure that I do a great job and that I interact with people and give them the most I can, because it's kind of my job now to make sure that people get the information, the education they need and want to be able to tell their stories better. So still get nervous, but it's more along the lines of energy nowadays as opposed to apprehension.
That's good to hear. I'm just checking the social media. If you are watching this and you've got a question for Dan, then you can use the YouTube live chat, or on Twitter, use a hashtag The Fowler Show on, about this show as we're talking about live, or even after the show is live, it's on demand. Use a hashtag The Fowler Show on Twitter. Let me know what you think of the show. Barry, I just mentioned, just going on Twitter roughly just now, Ryan Foland has also retweeted our show as well. So, thanks to Ryan Foland. So you might be watching us. You never know in the afternoon. But yeah, thank you so much for the retweet there by our good friend Ryan Foland. Now, of course, great guy he is. Excited to tell your story indeed, and talking about you as well, and talking about of your story there about your nervousness. Do you get nervous around, as you say about meeting your heroes when you got to open for them in many of your bands you got to play in front of? Who were some of the bands you got to introduce, and do you still get nervous when you meet somebody from the TV world? You may see and think, wow, I'm so excited to meet this guy or this person as well.
Yeah, like this isn't a point to try and brag or anything, but like I've always been just kind of like just a low-key dude. I meet people and I want to go right into real conversation about life and not being a fan, I guess. So like I really haven't had too much nervousness about meeting anyone. We did some shows. There's some US bands in the modern rock kind of arena. 3 Days Grace is one of them. Hailstorm is a female-fronted rock band that got really big here. Some cool people like that who, because of my approach and the fact that I've done hundreds of interviews in my career as well, as far as interviewing other people, I think most of the time they'd be relieved that I wasn't like fanning out. I was more of like, hey, how's the road? How's the family? What's going on with you? What drives you? What are you passionate about? And the same sort of thing in the kind of in the television side of things. Meeting Jaden Smith, I was so impressed that he was so interested in helping the city of Flint that I just looked at him as a human and not a celebrity, not out of choice, just because that's kind of how I'm built, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not to say like, oh, I don't look up to anyone, but I really haven't experienced too much of that starstruck type of thing, because I'm always so interested in just like pulling story out of people that I want to get right to that.
Right to the point as well. As I say, yeah. I do hope you find that on this show we get straight to the point, no messing around, no going on the houses. We get straight to the point. Many people, I don't know if they like that or not, but this is the way we do it. What did I say? I do it in here. But I mean, as you say, because you want to find out, as you say, their stories, and you want to find out more about them as a human or as a person, and just like, you find out the real person, like on TV and such. You may think, oh, they're quite nice on TV, but in real life, are they as the same as on screen? And many people, sometimes it's not like with everybody, is it really? But hopefully through this, they will find out that Dan Bennett is the same as you get on and off screen.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that you brought that up, because it's actually something I talk about pretty frequently. There's kind of these three magic things that happen when people put out video content, especially where they are the face of their own brand or company. And the first one is, in the entrepreneurial world, we're all after like the know, like, and trusting. And that comes with time and building relationship where someone knows you, likes you, and then trusts you. And that can happen through video, which is super cool. The second thing that happens is there's a little bit, and I don't have a better word for it, but a little bit of this like fame type of thing. It's very, very small, right? But I've had a bunch of times in public where someone's like, oh, you're that guy from YouTube that does videos or whatever. So there's like a recognition that happens just because you're on a screen. You've created a video and put it out and someone saw it. So you start to build a rapport with people, which is really cool. And then the third thing, and I've watched this happen in real life and gotten goosebumps from it. I'm getting goosebumps right now actually talking about it, is this thing where when someone's built that rapport with you and they're starting to know and like and trust you, and then they meet you in real life, whether that's a Zoom call, a phone call, or in real life, and you are the way you were in your content, people love that, and it locks in that trust that you were trying to build the whole time. They're like, oh, cool, he's just like he was on camera, and I'm happy about that, and now I feel like I can trust him and we can do great work together. So that little trifecta happens through storytelling and video all the time, and I think it's super fun.
Yeah, it is super fun. I mean to say as well, frequently on this show we do get a lot of interruptions with people ringing our guests. It's odd, and I don't know what it is about this show, but people love to ring people. Obviously, nice. We understand you do have some notifications going on your phone. If it is important, feel free to take it. We can always hold you on the line while you take your if it's important. So don't worry about that. But yeah. Maybe it's somebody saying I'm watching the show live and they're enjoying the content, or they got a question for you and thought you said to us, posting it on social media. I just text it to you instead. But I mean, whoever it is, thank you so much for reaching out to my guest today, and I do hope that you guys can do business, whoever that person is out there. But just thought to bring it up because I think I can hear it, and I'm sure the viewers might be thinking, what's that vibration noise? So I'm making sure it wasn't me. I'm making sure it's me. Is it me? It's not me. I don't think so. So yeah, don't worry. It's not annoying, by the way. I just wanted to bring it up just to make sure that it was an important phone call or text you need to respond to. That's all. Because again, you're a very busy guy. You got yourself in many different pockets, and you're very busy, I'm sure. So what can we expect from you then over the next few months? Then, well, can we see you going onto the stage anytime soon? Speaking in front of loads of people, or even on over a webcam kind of deal, or are you consulting other people as well as we speak? What's going on with you?
Yeah, it's kind of pedal down to the floor in the arenas that we've talked about today. So I knew last year when I had to kind of start over that I didn't want to keep just doing the agency model. I wanted to make more of an impact as an individual, as well as build some digital products that could make some revenue on the side where I didn't have to be there at all times. And in going in that direction, I knew I still had to do some freelance work. So I wanted to be really picky about who I worked with. And it's been incredible. I've had the best clients over the last 8 months. It's just something I could talk about forever. And along those lines, I've also been really picky and take my time with what I'm building and what I'm putting out, because I don't want anyone to get confused. And a great example I give is like a big difference between film and video is narrative or movies or documentaries. In the sort of film side of things, you have dialogue, you have scenes to set, you have a story to drive forward. And a lot of times that story is very linear. And in video, the tools that you have at your disposal are your knowledge, maybe a little bit of video production if you're good at it. But then the last tool, and a lot of people don't think about it, is lack of distraction. So doing everything you can in your video to eliminate distraction. It could be the one bright yellow book back on the shelf behind you that everyone looks at instead of your face, or it could be surrounding noise, or turning your phone on to off instead of vibrate. All those things really come into play. So in knowing that I didn't want anyone to be confused when they came across my stuff, I just trusted the process, niched all the way down. And the top of my funnel, for lack of a better term, is my awareness funnel is YouTube for sure. Our newsletter, which you can find at imtheantipreneur.com/newsletter, and LinkedIn for like warm leads and sales, all talk about storytelling and video. And that's all I'm preaching. That's all I'm helping people solve as far as freelance. And those are the tools I'm building as far as like coursework and community and different stuff like that I have available. So that's where you're going to find me. You're going to find me helping as many entrepreneurs as I can tell their stories in really effective ways, get the right gear in their hands, do the editing for them if they can't do it themselves, help them upload it to their YouTube or their social if they can't do that, and help more and more people take their knowledge and their expertise online. And I tell you, it's been fun because I've been in this space for, like 7 or 8 years now. And I feel like COVID kind of expedited the process of everyone catching up with me. Yeah. And now I get calls every single day that are like, hey, I'm stuck at home. I got a webcam. I need a mic and some lights. Will you help me? And it's one of my favorite things in the world to do, because within a week or two, we can have someone looking and sounding great. And now that barrier to entry is gone, and they can start sharing their expertise, helping their clients, contributing to their company as an employee, whatever the case may be. So that's where I'll be. I'll be online, helping people tell great stories.
That's good to hear. Well, I'm glad you're able to get loads of people calling you every day and wanting your help, which is great to hear. And how long do you think the process is from when they get in contact with you to when they are finishing the process with you, making them look more professional, more confident in themselves?
Yeah, it's kind of different for everyone, which I'm sure you could see that answer coming. But there's kind of two tracks. 1 Minute Media, like the digital product people can plug in, go watch the coursework, get into the community, ask questions, and kind of go at their own pace. And then I do kind of a version of 1 Minute Media where I just work directly with people. So instead of going and watching the videos and go through the coursework, they just work with me directly, and we try and expedite the process. So I've had even like, CEOs of small, nimble software companies who have got initial consultation with me. They've gotten presentation to their team. We've gotten them all the gear they need, drop ship to their location, jump on a Zoom call, help them set it all up and test lights and test audio and get some test clips in that I can edit, and all that stuff within like 14 days sometimes. So if someone's really hungry, just a couple weeks, and you can go from never having created a video ever to starting to create professional videos with, professionals helping you get the editing and the distribution done. And on the other side, where people go at their own pace, we do monthly and annually, and sometimes people learn for 2, 3, 4 months before they make their first video. So it's kind of at the pace of the individual.
That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of, you plugged a few minutes ago about your website. Throughout the show as well, we've been plugging. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I don't know if you've had the live stream up or not. But throughout the show, we've been having your social medias pop up on the screen on Facebook, your Twitter, and your Instagram, all popped up on the show. So again, you can follow him on the good old Facebook at I'm The Antipreneur, also on Twitter, Real Antipreneur, and then on the Instagram, same as Facebook. I'm guessing it was too long to go with it on the Twitter, because I know the feeling, because on my Twitter, I can't have Edward Fowler show because it's too long, and I don't know if I need to contact Twitter about that, or I got to wait until I get verified to change that.
Yeah, 1 letter. It was 1 letter too long. Same with me. That's hilarious. It's a true story.
It is, true story for me as well, because it's like, it's annoying. I don't know if we're allowed to contact Twitter for us to get the permission from them, or we have to wait until we get verified, and then they don't care. But I don't know. But I'm glad I'm not on my own now. I'm glad I found somebody else. That's right.
The 15 character rule. I remember it well.
God, yeah. I didn't know that was even a rule. I just thought, it's annoying that they put a limit on how many characters you can use for a username. That's quite ridiculous, I think.
I know, right? Like, what are they thinking?
I know.
You got work to do.
I think Facebook and Instagram has no limit, do they? Or do they?
If they do, it's longer than I've ever bumped into.
Yeah, pretty much same with me. I know Twitter changed the tweets from 140, I think it was like 145, wasn't it, something like that, to 280 now, I think it says, or 270. I do hope they can change that for usernames as well. It'd be great to allow 100, maybe 16 characters or something like that in the future. Let's talk about then as well. Are you thinking of diving into other topics then as well, which maybe you've never, helped people with or discussed before, out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, so I got a couple thoughts towards that. One is I'm developing coursework and cohorts for storytelling right now. Storytelling is so different than video and video production. It's very nuanced, and it's just kind of a different part of the brain that you're using. So I'm building that, and I'm taking my time to build that in a way where instead of just coursework you plug into in a group you join, it's actually 8-week cohorts where you find camaraderie with other people who are going through the same program. And I'm also involved personally along the way, Q&As and deep work and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going in that direction, because storytelling is kind of one of these things that sometimes, it's a trendy word, or it gets a little bit trendy when people say tell a better story, or you should use story in your social media and stuff like that. But I take it very serious. So I actually dive in and just remind people that story is ancient. It's inside of all of us. We enter the world being told stories by being cuddled and swaddled and cooed at and sung to as babies, and all those things matter. So I'm definitely paying a lot of attention there. Another place where I'm paying a lot of attention and trying to build some tools is kind of a newer discovery in the last 6 months of how hard it is for some people to get on camera. I've always been aware of camera shyness, but I had some 1 Minute Media alumni from the beginning in general conversations tell me how they struggled to get on camera in the beginning. And I'm like, yeah, we consulted together. I asked you, all the questions. Why didn't you ever tell me? And they're like, I figured it was my battle to do. And, I figured out my way and it worked out. And now I've been on so many podcasts and in so many entrepreneurial groups where I ask people, what do you struggle with? What do you need help with? And it's very often getting on camera, getting those first few videos done, learning how to speak to a lens, all those things. So I'm definitely interested in the next year to be developing some tools and maybe even a safe space online somewhere where people can do test videos and put them there for review and critique, but do it in a loving and, soft way so people can just kind of play and practice. So I'm interested in those two things for sure. And just seeing where, as things start to open back up slowly in the US anyway, seeing where video, especially through like Zoom and remote work and stuff, lands, because I don't think we're ever going to get back to the way things were per se. So I'm interested to see how many people want to continue to capitalize on creating great video from a home office space and stuff like that.
Yeah, great points. I have to say, great points, and I look forward to see what you guys, what you do, because I think you had a great idea of creating a forum somewhere where people upload test videos and again get critiques from yourself, other people as well, and help to improve and get better and feel more brave in themselves, and they get more used to speaking in front of a camera. It's not easy because you don't know who's viewing it, or or if you're saying the right things and stuff like that, and you don't know if it's recording as well. So there's a lot of things go into it, I have to say. And especially when I do, because again, people do it pre-recorded. Imagine doing it live. I do this show live. I love because the reason I do it live is because I love the unexpected. Because again, we could have a power cut right now, and you could be, it's happened before where my guests have had the phones turn off. They tune in and then the phone goes off or the internet goes off. So it's happened to me as well. I did not know that one before. Where a few months ago I had a guest on, and I assumed it was them, right, who cut off. So I was speaking, thinking that I was still on the air, and in fact, my internet, I looked down at my monitor and I thought, actually, my internet's off. So I say, I'm not speaking to anybody else. Yeah, the show is finished, unexpectedly. Couldn't resume it because by the time I got internet back, YouTube doesn't update anymore. Years ago, I would be able to, but YouTube changed the settings where you can't connect back, kind of thing. So it's a bit annoying nowadays. I do not like it. And years ago as well, you could upload or go live on YouTube, and you could, in about an hour after you gone live, you could then download that video, edit it, and post clips onto your social media or whatnot. Now, it takes 12 hours after you've gone live for that to come able to download and add a end screen at the end as well. Wow. 12 hours. So, for the past year, I've been uploading clips the next day. Not anymore, because I found a website where you can download. Well, I don't know if it's. I shouldn't really be saying this, but I found a website where you can download YouTube videos off YouTube for free, and that's what I'm going to do from now on. Is download my own videos and post the clips. So there'll be a clip coming out of this show tonight on my social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram. It's Facebook and Instagram, Edward Fowler Show, while on Twitter it's _ Edward Fowler _ because again, Edward Fowler shows I can't do at the moment. I can't even use Edward Fowler because there's a user from 2009 who has took it and actually never even used it. And they said last year, I think it was, that they're going to start deleting inactive accounts. Well, this account is still active for some reason. Why is that? They don't even use it. So yeah. It's annoying.
I feel your pain. I've been there, man. I've been there.
I know. It is quite sad, isn't it? But there you go. Who would you suggest to get in contact with me to come on this show? Because again, we have people on from the music world. We've had yourself and Ryan Foland on. We've had actors on this show. We've even had a reality star, some MMA fighters, some boxers on the show as well. We have a whole range of different different topics and different genres and such as well, all been on this show, as you know now as well, because of my next guest coming on this Friday. Who would you suggest? Again, my guest does not know any of my answers or any of my questions I'm going to ask him. By the way, it's all out the loop, on the spot.
Yeah, So a lot of my contacts do come from the business world because that's where I've spent
Of
most of my
course.
time over the last decade. And I've been really fortunate to work with some just ridiculously talented female CEOs and entrepreneurs. And so I love giving them space on my platform. I love having them on my show. So, two I can think of right away. Carol Eckerly is one, The Business of Image. She's a dynamo. She's super fun to have on the show. She hosts her own show, so she's a great guest because she knows how production goes. And another is Dawn from the company Jotful, Jottful, and they do websites for companies, but they do it in the middle. So there's the people that you pay a lot of money to develop something from scratch, and then there's all the platforms where you can do it yourself. They do something really cool in the middle where they help you get a professional site, but it's along the lines of like a template, and they manage it for you, so you can kind of do your business instead of worrying about your website.
But yeah.
And those are two really just like powerful female entrepreneurs that I think would make great guests on the show because they're doing such cool work in and of their own companies.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the suggestions. We might mention her as well because on your Twitter, I was on there yesterday after I tweeted to you about being on the show because there's another female person. Now, this person is goes on to Fox LA a lot, and of course, some Fox LA news anchors and sports anchors follow me on Twitter. God knows why. Don't live in LA. Don't live in the US. Why? No idea. But anyway, Winnie Sun. She follows yourself. She follows me. I'm guessing that's how maybe Ryan Foland came across me, maybe. But she appears on a lot of news shows, doesn't she? And such, talking about the business world of finances and such. And does that ever interest you? Have you ever been invited to go on a news show to talk about business and finances and whatnot?
I've done some local stuff, and that's fun. I've been interviewed a lot more for blogs and like online magazine type stuff. So a lot more of the written word as opposed to video, which is funny because video is like my wheelhouse. But this time around, like I said, after losing everything and starting over last year and being super focused and not really being interested in running an agency anymore, but being more focused on being a personal brand within of myself and just doing good work. I'm starting to get picked up and invited to a lot more stuff. So I'm hoping, within the next year, some of that turns into some television and video type speaking spots. It's just such a powerful medium. And yeah, Winnie's a great example of a recognizable personal brand. Like she does really cool stuff with her branding and color and standing out amongst the crowd and delivering constantly on her expertise. I think that's something I look up to for sure.
Yeah, I did reach out to Winnie about a while ago. This was, but she saw the message. Got a message on Instagram because I didn't know how to get in contact with her. I could have DM'd. I may have DM'd her as well. I can't remember, but I know I messaged her on Instagram, but definitely because she saw my message. But she didn't respond back, so I don't know if it's because she's very busy or it was maybe not the right platform to inbox her on to ask her to come on the show. So, but yeah, she's a great person. And as you say, she's done a very phenomenal job of able to make herself stand out from the rest of the crowd on Twitter and on all the social medias. However, she does follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. So I can't argue with that. But she does go on Fox LA News a lot. So if you ever go on Fox LA News, make sure you tell Fox LA news anchors, whoever tells you that you got a viewer from the UK. And I tell you a hidden fact as well, that there's a show called Good Day LA on Fox LA, and that started on my birthday, but a different year, but still I share my birthday with Good Day LA. Can you believe that? All the dates to start a show on, they show it on my birthday. It's great. So make sure you channel that.
I love it.
If you ever go on there. Anyway, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I do hope you've enjoyed the conversation and the chat and the discussions we've discussed here. Is there anything else you want to add which I might not have asked you, or you think it's important you should share and plug, which I might not have told on this show?
Something that comes to mind a lot is this little clip from a talk I gave a long time ago, and the guy hosting the workshop that I was speaking at stopped me after I said something and put a little spotlight on what I said and shared it with the audience again. And it became this little video clip that I share with people all the time now. And it was really just a couple sentences. Essentially, it's, I'm 40 years old. I've been on this planet for a little while now, and not a single other human has lived a single moment of my life, which gives me permission to tell my story because it's unique. And I just love reminding people that even if you don't think you are a good storyteller or you don't think you have a story to tell, it's just not the case. And when you start looking for story, it's kind of like when you buy a car and you start seeing that model of car everywhere. When you start looking for story, you start seeing it. You find it in your own life. You find it in the life of the work you do, in clients, or maybe even your own, product or company or relationships. It doesn't matter. When you start looking, you start finding it, and you realize that we were all kind of born to tell great stories. So I just like to remind people that you can be a powerful storyteller, and it doesn't mean you got to learn a whole new skill set.
I love the quote. Very good quote there, and very insightful conversation. And again, you can find my guest on social media. You can find him on LinkedIn as well on youtube.com. Is it remember of the YouTube again?
Yep, youtube.com/The Antipreneur, and that's ANTIPRENEUR.
And you can find I Am The Antipreneur on Facebook and Instagram, and We Are Antipreneur on Twitter as well. And just a reminder as well that, of course, after Dan Bennett's interview today, if you're enticed in my content, if you enjoyed this conversation, and I invite you all to tune in again at the same time of 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Sorry, West Coast, but very early in the morning on that coast. But yes, we've got, of course, White South Fred on this Friday, May 21st, live and in HD. And I hope they are still too sexy for 2021. We'll have to see about that. But once again, though, I appreciate you, Dan Bennett. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to share the episode around to all your friends. Tell everybody who the real Dan Bennett is. Don't tell me he's a magician. He's not a magician. Tell the real person about him. He's an entrepreneur, speaker, podcaster, YouTuber. Tell them all about that good stuff. And also leave a comment in our comments below. Let me know what you thought of my episode with Dan. Did you think that I gave some good questions to him? Did you like the answers he gave me? Is there any questions I should have asked him? Let me know on the comments below, or using the hashtag the Edward Fowler Show on the old Twitter business as well. And as well, if you're new around here and you've enjoyed my content, make sure you smash that subscribe button with notifications on. It means you're always notified when a new live episode comes out. And also as well, you can always recommend me of who I should contact to come on this show, because I've had some interesting conversation with some people from Netflix stars and to some other actors and such like that. So you never know who may appear on this show. But again, enjoy the rest of your Hump Day Wednesday.